This guy is a wrecking machine, and he's hungry.
All of you chumps are gonna bow. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Money.
You're listening to The Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB. If you'd like to contact Mr. Credit, visit mrcredit.org.
All right, welcome to The Real Estate Debate. Mr. Credit here, your host, and judging the show today with me again is Dale Intrican from Synergy One Lending. Dale, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic.
Now, you've judged the show once before. Today's a little different. What do you expect?
I'm expecting a little more clash, a little more aggressiveness.
Let's just say sparks will be flying today as the challenge flags have been fully implemented, and every contestant in the studio has one to start the show with. So it will be a true real estate debate today. We have an all-star lineup in here today, man. I am super excited. Great agents and the most champion of champions in real estate debate history is here. What do you think with the new implementation since we've changed the rules? Does DeVore have as much of an advantage as he had in the past?
I don't know. I think everybody's ready to try to dethrone the champ.
Well, we shall see. And that's Dale Intrican from Synergy One Lending there from homelendingsandiego.com. Dale, I saw a story in CNBC recently where they said that the 30-year fixed mortgage rate has risen above 4%. Are rates moving up? Tell us what's going on with mortgage rates right now.
Well, what I see kind of a twofold response to that. One, I see in the coming year the expectation that rates are going to rise. The Mortgage Bankers Association has come out, and the projections are at the end of 2015, we should see rates above 5%.
Who said that?
The Mortgage Bankers Association.
So they really think rates are going to go up that much?
Yeah, in the next year. And the reason being is that there's a lot of things happening within the market that we're seeing positive growth within our economy. The Federal Reserve is scaled back and is done away with now, the QE program.
True.
And so these things are projecting towards higher interest rates. And that's healthy for the long term.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. We don't want to be Japan and have 1% interest rates for decades.
No, because we would see inflation. And that's a hidden tax.
Right.
But for the short term, what we're seeing is we're seeing kind of sideways projections on interest rates. We'll see them kind of push down a little bit, push up a little bit, depending on market news, maybe world instability. Just all depends on what's come out that week a lot of times. And we saw that at the end of October.
That's true. That's true. And that's huge. Mortgage Bankers Association has said that rates will be above 5% by 2015?
Yeah, by the end of 2015.
By the end of 2015.
But you gotta look at that too, is that at the end of 2013, they projected that rates would be up above what they were at the end of 2013. And here we are at the fourth quarter of 2014, and we're 0.5% lower than we were at the end of last year. So projections are just projections.
They won't necessarily come true, but I think a lot of people believe that rates will go up. If you'd like to find out what rates are today, or contact Dale Intrican from Synergy One Lending, go to homelendingsandiego.com, or you can call Dale at 619-379-7101. Dale, you ready to meet our contestants today?
I sure am.
Okay, great stuff. Contestant number one, Libby Rogers, is here with RB Haley and LibbyRenee.com. Libby, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so LibbyRenee.com. Who's Renee?
That's my middle name, actually.
Oh, interesting.
And it's libby.rogers.com.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
You got libby.rogers.com?
Yeah.
You
the other is not my address. So.
I didn't know you could do dots before the .com. You can?
You've lost me there because I think you've got my wrong address, but that's okay.
It's not LibbyRenee.com?
No, it's rbhaley.com.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll have to double check that
okay.
at the break. Don't worry about it. It's your first time on the Real Estate Debate. How do you feel about your chances today?
We've got some stiff competition here, but I will hold my own.
Okay. I have a feeling you will. Mike Cameron is also here with Keller Williams and CameronRealEstateServices.com. Mike, did I get your website address correct?
You did. You did.
All right. I worked very hard on that. I just want you guys to know.
That was excellent.
All right. Thank you very much. How does it feel, man? You've wanted to be on the debate for a while. You're finally here.
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous here. We've got the champion right next to me. So I've got my red flag gripped in my hand, and I'm ready to go. I'm excited.
It's not in the belt, baby. He's gripping that thing. It was great to have you, Mike.
Thanks.
Good luck today. Of course, Brian DeVore is here, the most champion of champions in the history of the real estate debate, from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, California Properties, and thedevores.com. Of course, the DeVores are you and your wife, Allison.
Correct.
So if you go to thedevores.com, you can find more about them. You're the most winningest champion in real estate history with 4 titles to your name. So the mantle's getting full, my friend.
It is getting full. My kids are starting to complain that I'm pushing off my son's baseball trophies to make room for the real estate debate trophies. But I don't know. Today could be tough. It's my first time with the challenge flag, and it evens the playing field. I'm excited and looking forward to seeing what happens.
Now, be honest with me. Is the 760 mug any motivation at all?
Actually, you know
to
what?
The trophy?
I could use one of those, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Our winner today will not only get the Golden Microphone Trophy, but also a 760 KFMB coffee mug, which is pretty slick.
It does look
if
nice.
I do say so myself. Good luck today, sir.
Thank you.
On filling the first hand of champions.
One for the thumb.
There it is. Steve Brandt is also here from instaclose.com. Steve, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic. Actually, you have the wrong address for me too.
Do I?
Yes.
What is it?
It's actually BrandtRegency.com.
BrandtRegency.com.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. So I have to do better research, clearly.
No, it's your not fault because I own a brokerage in Instaclose, but I'm also under Keller Williams as a luxury division, Brandt Regency.
Oh,
so
okay.
you're factually accurate.
Okay, so it is your website.
BrandtRegency.com is my website.
All right, awesome. I got to do more work.
We need to challenge.
Someone's going to challenge that.
Come on. This guy's got to get his act together. So anyway, so it's not instaclose.com. It's
BrandtRegency.com.
BrandtRegency.com. Now, it's your first time on the real estate debate.
Yes.
There's a video that I saw that's really cool on your website. Well, it was on the one I mentioned that's wrong, but on the one that's correct, is it there too?
Yes.
Okay. I gotta know, how long did it take to shoot that video? It's the coolest video I've seen.
1 day.
1 full day.
1 full day.
That was one well invested day, my friend.
Yeah,
it's really entertaining. I've never seen anything like it. So go to BrandtRegency.com if you want to check that video out. Good luck today, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, great stuff. So we're going to get the debate started here by taking the temperature of the market. We know you want the truth. That's exactly why we do this segment. So what we're going to be asking our contestants to do is to describe the current state of the San Diego real estate market using one word or phrase and explain. Libby Rogers, you will be first.
Okay. I would say dynamic because it's good for both the buyer and the seller right now. And that's unusual for that to be the case. It's just usually one or the other. We're operating in a still reasonably low inventory. We were complaining about too low of an inventory just this time last year. And now...
Sorry.
We have
a challenge.
We have a challenge. Steve Brandt has challenged Libby Rogers right away. Steve, you've got 30 seconds to make your case.
All right. First of all, I don't believe a market can be great for both buyers and sellers. It's like, can you have light and dark at the same time? You cannot. So I do think it's either benefiting one or the other. As far as moving towards a market where you're actually having properties that are moving quickly off or lower inventory, we actually have 12% more listings this year than we did last year. And last year was a banner year for sales.
Okay. All right. He's made his case. Libby, you have 30 seconds to rebut.
Off our NAR website, we show 6% growth since last year to year over year. And so therefore I feel that's a slight increase. And since I'm now seeing that buyers are not having to compete in multiple situations as often, they are being able to be satisfied. We're still seeing 60 people come through our open houses on the weekend. And quite honestly, most of them are not accompanied by their realtors. And yet they're out in force deciding that they're going to take advantage of that low interest rate and they're going to buy a home. And they're being more successful at it because they're not having 60 people that are paying cash competing.
Okay. Dale Intrican, who won the challenge. This is a tough call, my friend, to start the show.
I'm going to go and say that was won this time by Libby.
Okay. Libby won the challenge.
So hurts so early.
Here's the good news, Steve. You only lost your flag. That's it. So,
yes.
Libby, you get to keep your points and you get to continue.
Awesome. I get to continue on this topic.
Yeah. Did you have more that you wanted to say?
Yeah, actually, I think that it's been interesting to see that it really is up to us to make sure that we're taking care of our sellers, because it was odd to me to see 60 people come through an open house and only have one person accompanied by a realtor, and all of them say, no, I'm represented, but I'm here, and where's your realtor? They're not here. And then ending up with multiple offers within 24 hours and in escrow in 48. So to me, that's still a very dynamic market that we're operating in.
Very interesting. Good stuff from Libby Rogers from RB Haley. Mike Cameron, describe the current state of the San Diego real estate market with one word or phrase and explain your position in 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, I think we are in a balanced market. That's the one word. I think inventory is pretty stable and has been over the past 6 months, with inventory just around 10,000 units.
Okay.
That's remained stable.
All right,
boy.
we got a challenge.
We're at 9,700 units this month. Last month.
So Brian DeVore has just challenged Mike Cameron. Brian DeVore, you've got 30 seconds to make your case. Go.
All right, so there's two sources that I'll quote from, but CoreLogic DataQuick reports 8,295 units in San Diego County, and SDAR says there's just under 8,000 units. So I'm challenging basically the number 9,000.
Fact. Okay.
I just looked at it on the way over here, and it was 9,700 units for the month of October.
Who's your source?
SDAR.
SDAR?
Yeah.
This is a tough one, Dale.
All right, so
This is a tough one.
hold on a second.
Do you want to... Now, Dale, this is your call. They've both made their case. Mike, do you have anything else to say, or you're both just quoting your sources?
I'm quoting my sources.
SDAR says the number of active listings in the multiple listing service in San Diego County dropped slightly and is just under 8,000. That was from an article on November 7th.
It is not November 7th.
No.
I pulled off the statistics from the SDAR website.
On the way here?
Well, just before I left the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Dale, what do you think?
Wow, we're gonna have to go with the more accurate of today's date. So we'll go with Mike on that.
Mike Cameron won the challenge. Wow, this is crazy.
These challenges are falling fast.
So Mike Cameron, you have taken Brian DeVore's flag. You get to
Okay,
continue.
good.
You have about 10 seconds left.
Okay, I think, just kind of reiterating what Libby was saying, that on a field view, when we're out in the field every day looking at the market, we have a very good mix, at least my company does have a very good mix of buyers and sellers. No one's clearly in charge. Rates dropping to the mid-threes last month spurred a 10% increase in mortgage applications, and so it's led to an uptick in pending sales for this month. And, one of the things that we're seeing also is cash investors slightly moving away from the market. We had, in the second quarter of 2014, about 38% of all sales were cash. It went to 29% in July and then down to 23% in August. So I think that's a very healthy thing for the market to have those investors moving away to other markets where there's better opportunity.
Oh, yeah, that's a fabulous point for Mike Cameron there as he won a challenge against Brian DeVore. Brian, it's your turn now to describe the current state of the San Diego market. One word or phrase, you got 30 seconds.
So real quick, I'm assuming that any points I score are going to be his, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. That's
I just lose my flag.
Yeah, you just
Got
lost
it.
your flag. You're
Either
good.
way, I was going to do it because I want to help make everyone smarter. So anyway, so
Well, you have effectively done that, sir.
exactly. The one word I would say is delicate. Okay, and I would say, so according to the CoreLogic DataQuick report that I talked about earlier, the median price is down just slightly in September from October. Rate of appreciation is 6.6%, which is down from 24% in June. So we're seeing a slowing of appreciation. Supply is still low, whether it's 8,300 or it's 9,300. That's still 3 or 4 months. Normal is 6 months. Because people are still underwater and retirees are staying in their homes longer, so inventory is low. Foreclosure activity, notices of default are down almost 20% year over year, but they're up September to October. Same for trustee sale notices as well. And sales activity is down 5.7%. So, what's constricting sales? I think you have affordability, loan availability, household formation, student loan debt, and buyers are just sort of waiting to see what's going to happen. Interestingly, Fannie Mae just came out with a survey that said 50% of the people who responded to the survey are pessimistic that they can get a loan, and 48% expect rates to go up. So I say delicate because we're in that fragile state right now where prices are going up a little bit, inventory is still low, but who knows what's going to happen, and people are just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Okay. All right. Interesting stuff from Brian DeVore and thedevores.com. Steve Brandt, describe the current state of the San Diego market with one word or phrase and explain. You have 30 seconds to go.
The market is hangry. Hangry is the
a good
combination of two words you never want to see together: hungry and angry. The market is, sellers are hungry to get their home sold because days on market are increasing. They are angry because there are 4.7% more listings this year than there were last year, yet 12% fewer closed sales. So the market is transitioning from a seller's market to more of a balanced market.
Okay. All right. Makes sense to me. All right. So here's what we got. We got 2 challenges already in the show. 2 people have 2 flags in the studio. Coming up, we're going to have our rapid fire segment. So hold on to your seats. When you come back, you're listening to the Real Estate Debate on AM 760 KFMB. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
All right, welcome back. We've got a heated real estate debate going here. Dale Intrikin is our judge today from Synergy One Lending and Home Lending, SanDiego.com. Dale, what does the scores look like, my friend?
Brian's out to an early lead with 6. Mike has 5, and Libby and Steve are tied with 4.
Okay. Wow, really close match. So Steve and Libby both have 4. All right, so now it is time for the rapid fire segment. Oops. If I can hit the right button. Rapid fire segment. Today's rapid fire topic is Zillow, everyone's favorite topic in real estate. You can go either direction with this one. We'll start with Mike Cameron. I love or hate Zillow because fill in the blank. Mike Cameron.
I'm going to say I hate it because their Wall Street Journal did an article, said they're off 25% of the time. Inaccurate 25% of the time.
That's not good enough for Mike Cameron. I totally get it. Brian DeVore. I love or hate Zillow because?
I love them because I found they're only off by 10% because I just did his estimate for one of my listings. It's closing next week for $1.1 million, and they say it's worth $1.2 million.
Huh. Only 10%.
Only 10%.
What's 100,000
so I love them for that.
Friends.
Exactly.
Steve Brand. I love or hate Zillow because?
I love Zillow because back in 2005, when consumers didn't have that many options, they are now provided with a visual way to look at the public data.
Okay. Yeah, it did. Yeah, there's no question. It's useful for that. Libby Rogers. I love or hate Zillow because?
I love it for the exposure and the tools and the ability to put real estate in front of clients that really like to be able to surf and then spur them to call me.
Okay. All right. So it's a good lead generation tool. Mike Cameron, back to you. I love or hate Zillow.
Okay, I'm going to go with love this time.
All right.
I love it because they are on the leading edge of technology, and they're powerful, and they are changing the way that the industry is moving.
Okay. All right. Brian DeVore. I love or hate Zillow because?
I hate them because they have a section called Coming Soon, which helps agents list homes not in the MLS, which is in not the best interest of the seller because they can't get as much money if they can't expose it to the greatest number of people.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I think I heard about that, and that is kind of a silly thing that they're doing with. I don't know what they're trying to do. Steve Brandt, I love or hate Zillow because?
I hate them because they allow rentals to be published on Zillow for listings that aren't the rentals aren't technically real rentals. So you have a lot of fraud that might be occurring on the rental marketplace.
Potential fraud on the rental marketplace on Zillow. Beware. Libby Rogers, I love or hate Zillow because?
I actually hate them for their Zestimates because I've yet to ever see an appraisal report that had Zillow as a source of a comment.
As a resource. So the appraisers don't like it. You don't like it. I get it. Mike Cameron, I love or hate Zillow because?
I'm going to say I love them again because that is an impressive company. The growth. I mean, what's not to love? They beat estimates, 66% revenue growth and 400% earnings per share growth.
Mike sounds like he's an investor. He's into the casholas.
Love the cash.
Can you blame him? Brian DeVore, I love or hate Zillow because?
I hate them because they're misleading. For example, they say that in 92009, foreclosures are going to be a huge factor in the marketplace. But then they say that 0.9 homes out of 10,000 will be foreclosures next year. So 0.9 out of 10,000 doesn't seem to me like a big player.
Not a lot of reasoning there. Steve Brandt, I love or hate Zillow because?
I'm in the middle. Okay, because I think it's just interesting that the founder of Zillow also founded Expedia and is also the major shareholder on Netflix. So he is personally responsible for disintermediating a couple of industries in a big way.
Yeah, that's true. Good stuff. Libby Rogers, I love or hate Zillow because?
I do hate them because they tend to manipulate their market share when you advertise on them, and you will get a flood or a trickle depending upon how loudly you whine.
How loudly you whine, so the squeaky wheel gets the grease when it comes to Zillow. All right, that's it for our rapid fire segment. Coming up, the challenge round. Those of you who've lost your challenge flags, you'll get them when we come back. We'll make you smarter than everyone else right here on AM 760 KFMB, the Real Estate Debate.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us on your Sunday afternoon. Mr. Credit here. The Real Estate Debate is in full effect. You're halfway through the competition. Dale Intrikin is our judge today from Synergy One Lending and Home Lending, SanDiego.com. Dale, give us an update on the scores real quick.
All right, we got a 3-way tie with Libby, Mike and Steve at 9, and Brian is charging ahead with 12.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow. So DeVore has
Holy
12
cow.
points. Mike Cameron has 9. Steve Brandt has 9. And Libby has 9. Well, Brian, if you didn't feel like there was a target on your back before.
I feel. Can I get? Are they going to challenge me all? Can they all challenge me?
They could. So you better come up with some good stuff.
That's a great idea.
You actually get to.
Why did I bring that up?
You get to start this segment in the challenge round. So as inventory increases, as several people have alluded to, the marketing efforts of each agent have a greater impact on the results for home sellers, right? And open houses should definitely be a big part of the plan. So give us 3 things an agent and or the seller need to do to ensure that an effective open house takes place in the current market.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I want to say that the most important thing with open houses that goes for realtors and for their sellers is to be safe. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff in the news right now about safety when it comes to open houses. So that's key, I think. Just forget success, marketing success. It's just to be safe. Assuming that the house already looks great and the agent and the seller have already done everything they need to do to get the house ready to show, then I think we have to look at what are the 2 goals of doing an open house: quantity of buyers coming through and quality of buyers coming through. Quantity, cast the biggest net you possibly can, but also quality, attract the most likely buyers for that house. The first thing I think I want to focus on is the use of technology. Okay, it used to be you put out a bunch of open house signs, and that's how you get your people. And I poll the people who come through my open houses, and routinely 50% of the people say they found the open house on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, etc. So I think it's key to use technology. I also use a program called Wham Mobile, which people can use to text information to their phones, and then they can get notified as well. And then use of social media, still in that technology category, using keywords and using hashtags, hashtag open house, so that, or San Diego open house, so that people can find your open house in a variety of different ways. The second thing I think that's important is to engage the neighbors. And some sellers say, I don't want my neighbors coming through. Those are the exact people you want to come through because they're going to know someone who wants to live in the neighborhood. So what do? I do a special preview open house about an hour before the regular open house before I put my signs up, just for the neighbors. And I invite them in. And I say, please bring anyone you know who wants to live in the neighborhood. And I get people who come through. Sure, a lot of them are looky-loos who want to see what John and Mary did with their carpet and their paint. And that's totally cool. But they may also know someone. And I actually got someone to come through an open house that way too. A third thing. Everyone does their open house. Not everyone. A lot of people do open house on Saturday and Sunday. 1 to 4 is the normal time. Do it on different days. Do it on different hours. Do it on a Friday. Do it on a Wednesday. Do it during the time when...
And there it is. And I thought you would make it through the whole time without a challenge.
I had to do it. I had to do it.
Mike Cameron has challenged Brian DeVore. Mike, you got 30 seconds. Go.
I've done weekday open houses, and they do not work. You don't get the right kind of people stopping by the house. You're not targeting effectively towards one group. You're just... It doesn't work. You're not getting the right people.
Okay. Brian, you got 30 seconds to rebut.
So I think it depends on who you're trying to get and when you do the open house. As I was just going to say, if one of my goals is to get neighbors who might be interested for someone they know, do it during the time that kids are being picked up from school. So they'll stop into the open house right before that. And then we also get renters who are living in the neighborhood who want to stop by, who maybe they can't do it any other time but the time they're going to pick up the kids from school. So during those off hours, or do it a little bit later than 4 o'clock when everyone else is already closed. You're the only game in town.
I got 4 kids. I got a wife and 4 kids, and I know that when she's picking the kids up from school, she's not going to an open house.
Oh, you do it before. You do it before they go to pick
Dale,
up the kids.
who won the challenge?
See, that's a tough one because I've had realtors I've worked with before who have made a business out of doing, say, open houses on the weekdays. They've gotten leads off of it. But that was a couple years ago. More recently, it's been tight. It's been a lot tighter. So I'm going to give this one to Brian.
Okay.
Because it is true in the short term.
Okay, Brian, you get to get your flag back.
All right.
And your flag you got
and my
back?
points.
No, he didn't. He didn't get your points.
Okay, great.
I defended my
You defended
my
his
points.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So you just lost. You just
Okay.
gave him his flag back. That's all.
Perfect.
I'm going to throw a challenge out.
All right.
All right.
Here we go.
Brian, I have to come at you from the very beginning because I think you glossed over something that is probably very critical that needs more attention, and that is making the house look as good as it can look. You mentioned it, but I think that is the first thing that people are going to see, and that's going to set the tone for whether it is going to be a successful open house.
Okay. So my defense to that is you have to have the house looking as good as you possibly can, whether you do an open house or you do no open houses. The reason why I glossed over it is because I'm assuming I've already done my job to make the house look as beautiful as it possibly can every day of the week. And I've trained my sellers to make sure it looks as good as possible every day of the week. That's already done, whether it's an open house or a regular showing. Now I'm just focusing on how do we make the open house event the best it possibly can be to get the buyers through.
There are some key elements.
Oh, wait a minute. You don't, no. Dale, who won that challenge?
Okay. This is getting to be repeating. He's right, but so is Brian. They're both right on it, but he's exactly right. His question was, or his answer was assuming that he had already done all that work to make the house right.
Yeah.
So
you need to explain that. Okay. All right, Brian.
I'm out of flags.
That's your flag.
I'm out of flags.
I'll pick it up later.
I like the fact that you've got the machine gun going. So Brian, you've done well defending yourself. I've got to close you off so I can get to Steve. Steve, what are your top 3 things for an open house?
Number 1, house has to look good.
All right, there it is.
That means repairs, staging, and cleaning. So one of the things we do is we hire an outside stager that comes through the property and walks through with the homeowner, can either work with existing furniture or bring in additional furniture or decor items that are going to help to make the house look the best it possibly can.
Okay.
And there are, since I've also been involved in some fixing and flipping and repairing properties, and I'm building my own house right now, I'm super tied into the importance of making repairs that are going to bring dollars into the homeowner's pockets.
Okay.
Some of those things could be as simple as painting the fascia of a property, or making sure there's potted plants out in front that look beautiful, or colorful flowers. So those are critical things. And lastly is cleaning. One of the things we do to help our sellers out is not everyone has a maid. So we provide a maid service for our sellers prior to an open house, so they don't have to run around the property the night before trying to make it look pretty, particularly if they do have kids. That may not be something that's even possible for them. So that's something we provide. You're going to challenge me on the kids being taken care of with mom?
Brian DeVore has just challenged Steve Brandt. Brian, you got 30 seconds.
I'm going to go back to my point. Shouldn't that have already been done? And shouldn't that house look like that regardless of whether or not it's an open house? I mean, shouldn't the house be looking like that and stage and everything else from day one, even before an open house for showings?
There's a lot of woulda, shoulda, couldas. And what's mainly important is that it actually gets done. So I'm not going to leave it up to chance. So I put together a systemized checklist to make sure these things are taken care of prior to the open house occurring, not hoping that the homeowner does take care of them, making sure that it does get taken care of, particularly the house cleaning. Because any time a buyer goes into a house and sees like a cluttered property, that can impact whether they decide to write an offer or not on that house or not, or another house that's right down the street.
Okay. Dale Intrigan, who won the challenge?
Steve, on that one, I'm going to say, because I like the aspect of cleaning, because when you go in a smelly house, it is the worst.
I felt like they just argued over the exact same thing. Okay.
Great minds.
Libby Rogers, what are your top 3 items for a successful open house in today's market?
Listen to your realtor. That's for the sellers. Please listen to your realtor, because they know stuff. They've been doing this for a long time. You have people that say, hey, I want to sell my house, but please don't put a sign out front, and I don't want to do an open house, and I don't want a lockbox. Do the checklist, not just the items that are convenient. They have to be team member along with you, and with team spells success, but I myself cannot do it alone. And so they need to buy into the process and to really engage with me to succeed, because we have a great market right now. And agents, I would say the biggest thing, yes, advertise. I agree with Steve, advertising heavily through technology, but also the old school, putting 20 signs out and not 6. Really having that exposure, because you don't know who is coming through the door and where they came from. They may have just been going out for ice cream, and all of a sudden they're buying a house, and they didn't realize that was going to happen that day. Sold many houses that way. And then the thinking outside the box, I think personally, delivering open house invitations within 48 hours. We're all so busy, to a couple target neighborhoods that are key bump up buyers would be really key. And many times they'll walk in with the invitation in their hand. there will be that one token person that won't like it littered on their doorstep, but everyone else will come, and that's how we got 60 people through our door last weekend.
That is awesome. That is really, really good idea. Look for the
And then
move-up buyers in their
having
area.
2 people for safety, as well as being able to say, hey, I'm going to go show you the house down the street that's on our active list and show you, so that maybe you can do the comparison. You can come back and write an offer if this one seems to be suitable.
Okay, good stuff from Libby Rogers with RB Haley. Mike Cameron, top 3 things to do for a successful open house. You have about 45 seconds.
I am going to, selling effectively, whether it's tickets on eBay or a home, is about 2 things, in my opinion. It's traffic, getting as many people through that open house as possible, and what you do with that traffic. So on that vein, I will say, going back to Steve's argument or point of setting the right environment, from sights to sounds to smells. It's not a mistake that new home developers spend $80,000 to $100,000 on a model home to make it look and smell perfect. The music's set properly. You want to have that nice staged feel to any house that you're putting on the market. Getting the word out. We actually talked to neighbors. I think it was mentioned here also. We just sold a house in Del Sur to somebody that bought a house in Del Sur 6 months ago and is literally moving 6 doors down because we contacted all the neighbors, let them know that the open house is going on. They came over and put in an offer. So I think you really do want to touch the neighbors because they know people who maybe a relative that they're trying to recruit out to the West Coast and move next door. I have that happening right now.
Thanksgiving's coming.
Yeah,
get them out.
Exactly. And then I think the probably one of the most important things I see is follow-up, is making sure that when you have the right people who come through that door, that you're properly reaching out to them and getting them engaged into the home and to the details of the home, and making sure you don't let those buyers slip through the cracks.
Okay, those are great points, great advice from our in-studio experts today. You're listening to the Real Estate Debate on AM 760 KFMB. Coming up, it's time for the win. Agree or disagree, we'll catch up on points, and we will crown a champion. When we come back, we'll make you smarter than everyone else. Stick around.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us on your Sunday afternoon. Mr. Credit here. Let's check in with Dale Intrican, our judge today from Synergy One Lending and HomeLendingSanDiego.com. Dale, what do the scores look like, my friend?
It's very close. Steve is at 15. Mike and Libby are at 16. And Brian's at 17.
What?
Oh.
Wow. So this is anybody's game. Who will walk away with the Golden Microphone Trophy and the AM 760 KFMB coffee mug?
I need that mug.
Steve, we're going to start off with you. It's time for Agree or Disagree.
Time now for Agree or Disagree.
Can't we just settle this over a pint?
Agree
Yes! Yes!
or disagree.
To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people.
Let's get it on!
All right, Steve Brandt's up first. Homes are more affordable to buy right now than they usually are. This means it's a good time to buy. Agree or disagree?
Ugh, I cannot stand this question. You should be buying when you're renting and tired of paying your landlord's mortgage. You should be buying when there's a life-changing event that occurs, like a new baby welcome to the family, or one of your babies has gone off to college and now you have extra room and you want to downsize. That's when you should be making a decision to buy, not trying to time the market.
Okay, so you disagree with this.
I absolutely disagree.
No one seems to want to challenge your
We're going to have a lot of yes people.
All right. Libby Rogers, homes are more affordable to buy right now than they usually are. This means it's a good time to buy. Agree or disagree?
Yes, I agree, because during the peak of the market in 2005, when rates were just under 6%, by my math, now they're slightly above 4%. That is a 40% off the cost of money situation with still a 10 to 12% reduction in where we were at the peak. So therefore, you have more buying power than you've ever had before.
And without ado,
sorry, Libby, and I really like you.
Steve,
sorry, I hate to do this.
Steve Brandt is challenging Libby Rogers right now. Steve, you got 30 seconds.
I have pulled up some 2005 stats. The median income for 2005 was $67,221. The median income for 2013, this is in San Diego, was $61,426. Milk has gone up. Food costs have gone up, but I tabled it off milk, 21%. Gas has gone up 28%. energy has gone up 14%. We're paying more for things than we used to pay for things, and we're making less money. So I don't think things are necessarily in a more affordable market for us to be taking care of.
Libby, your rebuttal?
But you have a 40% discount on the cost of that money, and you have a 10 to 12% decrease in the sale price, the sticker price of that product that you're going out and buying, and rent has increased by an astronomical amount during that period of time in 9 years. So you're going to continue to pay your landlord's mortgage, or you're going to pay your own. And I say you get in the game when it's never
Dale?
been cheaper to buy.
Those are some sharp answers. Both of those answers are great. I like Libby's because the rent was a key one for me. Rents are going up. They're projected to go up significantly.
Sorry, Steve.
I'm having a tough day with challenges. I'm not going to challenge.
I appreciate your vigor, my friend. I really do. Libby, you are collecting a lot of challenge flags. Those are worth 2 points each when it comes down to it. Mike Cameron, agree or disagree? Homes are more affordable to buy right now than usual. This means it's a good time to buy.
I'm going to disagree with that. You know, there is no evidence, and we're talking to buyers all day long, that anything like homes are more affordable than they were either locally or nationally. The wealth gap is obviously widening. The rich are getting richer, and the rise in income is not staying on pace with home prices. So I absolutely disagree with that. The tightening or loosening of money and rates is a way of making it more enticing. But at the end of the day, a healthy economy, a big healthy economy, is going to be dependent on rising incomes and what people are making.
Okay, now that makes a whole lot of sense to me. Brian DeVore, agree or disagree? Homes are more affordable to buy right now than usual. This means it's a good time to buy.
I disagree with the fact that they're more affordable. According to CARS, California Association of Realtors Traditional Housing Affordability Index, San Diego County affordability is 26%. Last year it was 32%. 2012 it was 65%. So affordability is actually going down, going in the wrong direction. But is it still a good time to buy? I think it still depends on what your long-term goals are. According to the Fannie Mae...
And there it is. And someone had to challenge the guy. He's leading the thing. Libby Rogers has challenged Brian DeVore. Libby, you have 30 seconds to make your case. Go.
I'm sorry, I have to challenge that because I have 8 people on my block of 16 homes that are now paying over $4,000 a month in rent when the rent was close to $3,000 only 2 years ago. So if you're going to compare 2 years ago pricing to now, you're simply once again paying your landlord's mortgage if you're deciding not to buy real estate.
So my rebuttal to that is I don't believe that that talks to anything about affordability or if it's a good time to buy. I always believe that you have to look at the price to earnings ratio, which is the price to buy versus the price to rent. That is key. However, if you're planning on moving in a year, even though your mortgage is going to be less expensive than your rent, you shouldn't buy. If you only plan on being in the house for, a year and a half, you probably should rent and not buy. So whereas I do believe that you need to look at what you're paying for rent versus what you're paying for your mortgage, that's only one component of it. You have to look at all of your life goals and everything you're looking to do and whether or not it makes sense for you.
Dale?
Brian's eloquently stated his case on that one.
Okay. He gives it to Brian. Good try, Libby. Someone had to challenge the guy. We knew he had the most points leading into this segment. Continue, Brian.
So anyway, the Fannie Mae survey said that 65% of people say it's a good time to buy. That's a good sign for the market. Are you planning on staying put for a while? Do you want to put down roots? If you answer yes, then you have to look at the whole entire picture, cost versus renting, etc.
Okay.
That's how you decide.
Okay, so I'm going to give Dale a chance to go ahead and tally all this up. So Libby ended up with 2 flags. Mike, how many flags did you have there?
I have 1.
He has 1 flag. Brian, how many you got there?
3.
Brian has 3 flags. Steve, any flags over there?
It's like a golf score. I have the lowest score, I win, right? I mean, this has got to be a good sign.
Take some of the trophy, right?
No penalties, right?
So Libby has 2 flags.
Oh, come on up. Yeah, Libby has 2. Mike has 1, and Brian DeVore has 3 flags. So while Dale is tallying the scores, I want to say a big thank you to all of our contestants today. Libby Rogers with RB Haley, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It was great. You did fantastic, by the way. Mike Cameron with Keller Williams and CameronRealEstateServices.com. Mike, it was great to have you in here today.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you.
Great time.
Very, very much. Brian DeVore, thank you so much for being here, sir, from
Pleasure.
Berkshire Hathaway Home Services California Properties. Are there any other words in there?
I think that's
and
it.
TheDevores.com. And Steve Brandt, thank you so much for being here today from BrandtRegency.com.
Mr. Credit, you are a gentleman and a scholar.
Appreciate you, my friend. That's great stuff.
You get points for that.
All right, Dale, you got the abacus figured out over there or what, my friend?
Did I jump ahead?
I'm wondering if anybody's going to challenge me on my tally.
Where is
I have
it?
to get my mortgage calculator out. We're going from bottom to top.
Yes.
Okay, so these challenge flags definitely came into play at the
They
very
did.
end here. Yeah.
Wow.
Because Steve ended up with 18.
Steve,
And Mike and Libby both tied with 23. And
Ouch.
Brian won again with 27.
Wow.
Wow, so the challenge flags factored in. Brian DeVore.
You should have kept
win. You have won your 5th real estate debate. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you
How
very
does
much.
it feel?
This was the toughest debate yet.
Well,
this was fantastic. I loved it.
It's
and
not-
I loved the back and forth.
It's not going to get any easier. If you'd like to find out more about Brian DeVore, go to thedevores.com. He's won this thing 5 times. No one else has done that. He's obviously very, very good at it. Thedevores.com. Thank you for listening. Tuning into the Real Estate Debate. Coming up next is Talking Money with Mr. C right here on AM 760 KFMB. Stick around.